So, this entire movie, I'm waiting for my dude Renfield to show up, and he just didn't. Renfield isn't in this. Eventually, I was just waiting for one of the crew members on this gosh dang boat to reveal himself as the servant of this monster bat. That would have been a sweet twist to find out one of the crew members is Renfield. Go the whole movie without knowing, and then last second, he's like, oh, I was with him the whole time. I'm Renfield.
Renfield, you idiot.
Yeah, it's bullshit. Well, if any of you out there are familiar with the story of Dracula, then you know he takes a ride on a ship from Carpathia. I think that's where they said the ship was going from. I just say Romania, because, you know, Transylvania, right? He's taken this ship from this imaginary place to England, and the crew of this vessel, they're just not doing so well by the end of the trip. We'll say that. They decided to take this very small chunk from the Dracula lore and turn it into a whole movie. And I think that's a pretty good idea. The cast, it's pretty solid. It's a full-blown B team of actors. It's a bunch of, oh, that guys, or I think I know hims. Not an A-list actor to be seen in this thing, which is a great idea if you're trying to save on budget. You know, Davos from Game of Thrones? He's the captain of the ship. Didn't he used to be a pirate on GOT? Yeah, I wonder how many times this dude has played a captain. He's definitely the captain type, right? He's decided to take his grandson along on this trip, and along the way makes the decision that this will be his last voyage at sea. Wise choice. He did good. Literally the same character as Davos, but you know, that's what you get. His first mate, he's the dude from Suicide Squad and Oppenheimer and Ant-Man and The Dark Knight. You know, that guy. He's kind of an asshole, but he's loyal to his captain. And then there's this dude. You probably recognize him from Kong, Skull Island, or The Walking Dead, or Straight Outta Compton. He's basically the main protagonist of this thing. He's a doctor hitching a ride on this vessel, just along his way trying to figure out the mysteries of the world. Tell you what, he finds one. His doctoring skills do come in handy, although I'm pretty sure that doctor knowledge back then was total bullshit. Pretty sure if you stick me back in those days, I would do a better job being a doctor than they did. The solution for everything is a blood transfusion. Duh! Oh, this lady's sick? Give her some new blood. The lady you may have seen in the trailers, she's a bit of a stowaway of sorts. She's that character that's just there to relay information to the rest of the cast. Typically, this type of exposition character that's introduced is a little cliche, but I like how she was introduced. And the way that her character arc played out, I thought was pretty sweet. Yes, I approve of this expositional character. She did good. This brings us to the Lord of Darkness, Dracula. My man Dracula is a straight up monster the whole time. Just a nasty old vampire eating who he can to survive his month-long journey on a boat. I thought Dracula was dope. He barely said anything, and that disappointed me for a bit, but the way that it plays out later on, I think was totally worth it. Okay, I liked this a lot more than I thought that I would. I'm pretty knowledgeable on the Dracula story, so as far as where this is gonna go, I knew the outcome. It's one of those enjoy the journey since you know the destination scenarios. And looking at what they had to work with by taking a chunk of a larger story and making a whole narrative out of that, I think they did a pretty great job. 98% of this thing is on a boat, but they made sure to make us, the audience, familiar with the whole vessel. And then they utilized that minimal amount of space very well. I found myself constantly looking in the backgrounds of scenes to see if I could see Dracula like sneaking around in the shadows, because he could be anywhere at any time. Nighttime, that is. During the night. And since he had access to the whole boat at all times because he's fucking Dracula, That's what kept it interesting for me. As the crew members started getting picked off one by one, I thought the gore was pretty good. And I also liked how sloppy Dracula was with his prey, knowing that they couldn't go anywhere. Dracula is a pretty messy eater. Maybe next time he goes on a trip like this, he should bring a bib. Dracula himself is pretty creepy. They stripped away all of his character and made him just a predator. And I found that to be very effective. This is a monster movie, and he was a monster. I wouldn't say he's like a mindless monster though. He understands that he needs to get to England, and it's gonna take about a month. If I'm looking at Dracula from, beginning to end, I really like how they portrayed him in this. I like his savage side. He loves every second of slaughtering these folks. And I like that for Dracula. As I said, I thought the acting was good. It's about as good as you can get from a B-list of actors, and A-list in our hearts, right? I thought that the script and the dialogue between characters was kind of epic. Almost every line of dialogue that was delivered, I was like, oh, fuck yeah. It's like this. I vow if any blood be drained from me this evening, it shall not be in vain. Oh, fuck yeah. I did have a couple of issues. First off, some of these characters, you could probably argue all the characters, are too stupid. Sometimes they figure things out way later than necessary, and they don't make smart moves while in life-threatening situations. Sometimes they'll come up with a plan, and you're like, why didn't you do that like 10 days ago, bro? I suppose that they could have scurvy. Does scurvy make you stupid? I'm also just kind of logistically confused about the route that they took. I thought, based on what I was seeing, that they were on the ocean the whole time. But based on maps, if they start out around Romania, then most of the trip is through the Black and Mediterranean Sea? I don't know how that works. They make it seem like if they're gonna pull over and make a stop along the way because their crew's fucking getting murdered, that it's gonna take a certain amount of days off of the trip. And it's like, but you're like right there. Scurvy! Seriously though, can't Dracula have Renfield take him on a covered wagon or some shit through the country so he doesn't have to ride a boat? Is a boat honestly any faster than going through the land? I don't understand the time period. I don't understand the danger. And Dracula is probably the most dangerous thing on the land, right? The logistics don't make sense. They're stupid. Even though I know the story and how things go down, I was still surprised with how it ended. And honestly, I love how it ended. I loved the ending. As this whole thing wraps up and the credits hit, my immediate reaction was, that was sweet and I want more. I legitimately want a sequel to this. I want to see what happens next. Even though I know what happens next, I want to see it play out because I like how it ended so much. I want to see this monster we were introduced to as a dapper gentleman in English society that slaughters people every night. I was left wanting more, and that's a really good thing. If you're a vampire guy like me, or you just want to see some folks get slaughtered on a boat, check it out. I would like you to see it in the theater so it makes a little more money so we can get that sequel. But if you're more comfortable to watch it at home, I understand. At some point though, you should check it out. It's fun. Who doesn't love seeing Dracula running around murdering people, you know? Okay, see ya! Subscribe! Seriously though, where the fuck was Renfield? Like, you don't have to give me that much of him. He can be hiding away too. He can be just chilling. Tell you what, not many people know the movie Dracula Dead and Loving It anymore. How about you just throw this scene in at some point? This one right here. And then maybe Renfield just gets scurvy or something, and he has to sit the rest of this one out.